Motion to approve the agenda. So moved. Joe.
Second, Keith.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll move to the hearing.
Sarah, you received no comments today from
I
anyone?
received no comments.
Just need a motion, right?
Now you declare the hearing closed, and we move on.
I declare the hearing closed at 5:02. All right. Approval of the consent items. I have no questions. Janet did a nice job of answering what I threw out there. Did she copy everybody on that, Joe?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. I have some questions on the minivan.
Okay.
What do we need it for?
Transporting students.
Okay.
So with Mike's going back for them, we took one van out of commission
Mhm.
last time. So
Yep.
yeah, it's the transporting of special education students
Okay.
outside the district.
So what are the other two minivans used for?
Well, we got some used for preschool, another route on special ed or at risk. They go different directions.
Okay.
And then
Right.
we're also transporting to workplaces in the afternoon for our older students.
Okay.
Yeah, we're short on a vehicle.
Okay. And then, because I'm just looking at that car we purchased clear back in 2016, and we don't hardly even use that, so I don't. Hopefully, we have it. It's going to be used.
He put a backup alarm on it, so it can be used to haul students now too.
Okay, on
Yep.
that car.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Any other questions? All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
Joe,
Second.
James, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, we're going to move to, we're going to jump in the agenda to item 7, new business. And so the fiscal year 21 budget.
Nothing changed from our meeting from last time.
No, it got published right this time.
Board members, any questions, comments?
No, I didn't have anything. Just glad it all got posted.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the fiscal year 21 budget?
So moved.
Joe? Travis? All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, that's approved. Can she go, or?
Yeah.
Do you need any questions or anything?
No, I don't think so.
Get your contracts go out Friday, so got those done today.
Thanks,
Carol.
Cal. All right, we'll go to board
Yeah.
policy updates later.
Well, you want to do that, those shouldn't take long because those are required by law. So
The exact language.
yes.
Yeah. All right, let's just wrap those up then as well. Any questions regarding those? If you do, it doesn't matter.
Well, don't put it that way.
Can I get a motion to approve the board policy updates?
So moved.
Joe,
Second.
Travis? All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, back up to item 5, public comments, communications. We have none. All right, administrative reports. I'll just go through here. Seth, you can go first.
Yeah, hey guys. Not a whole lot other than what I put in there originally, but I just wanted to give a shout out to our teachers the past week or so that have worked, very diligently to put together this more targeted course by course specific schedule together for our students. And for a lot of our teachers, they had already had Google Classroom set up, but some didn't, and some had no idea. So just took a lot of collaboration amongst teachers and teacher teams, and Rob and I and Brenda working with teachers to get that set up. So, through 2 days so far this week, as I've been sitting in team meetings, the overall feeling is that participation is up. And I know especially in math, they saw a jump in that today. So just hoping that trend continues. I know families have a lot going on, but the more we get students involved, the better that will be. So some good feedback from parents too via email. Just they like the scheduled approach rather than sort of that one size fits all, because then their kids kind of know what to do each day. Plus there's some options for them as well. And one of the things we focused on was a self-care aspect too. So so far that's been good through day 2. Just the only other thing that I would add is we have high school math interviews tomorrow, set for tomorrow. And then we have our high school business / work-based learning interviews set for this Friday. So any questions you guys have?
How's everybody holding up? I guess as in general, should probably wait until the end.
I think for the high school, good. When we meet with teams, a lot of it is just checking in, just seeing how people are doing, and just, good to see their face and hear their voice. And so I know, it's been a trying time, and just tough for some staff members just not to be around each other and their kids especially, right? So, but I think, just speaking on behalf of my building, doing the best we can, and trying to keep plugging away and hoping, trying to be hopeful that we can still return in a couple weeks.
Sure. All right.
Thanks, Seth. Mr. Richards?
I think you're going to hear everybody echo. Teachers have put a lot of work in. We've had a lot of Zoom meetings at the middle school, again with collaborative teams, but also grade level teams. Teachers, I would echo the same thing. We went to the Google Classroom platform. Some of them it was easy transition to, and some of them it was a second order change that we put on them and said, it need to be ready to go in 3, 4, 5 days. So our staff has really stepped up and helped other staff. That's probably the biggest thing I've noticed in this process, just in their collaborative teams. I know Kelly and Brenda, just working with Seth, that they've been working, assisting online technology and getting people set up, but not just with Google Classroom, but ways to present instruction, ways to get video out, get feedback back from the students. So big shout out to the staff. I've gotten some good feedback from parents. I know my own son, Jackson, he's been probably 10 times more productive Monday, Tuesday this week than he has the whole closure. So it's definitely provided structure for kids. Now what we're going to do on Friday, we're going to meet as a grade level again. We're trying to track participation. We know it's voluntary, but we're going to do everything we can to reach out to parents and highly encourage kids that aren't participating. So that's something that we're going to do Friday. A couple other thanks. Scott and his team. Scott did a lot of work in the last couple of days, and I was there today just to help hand out Chromebooks and see parents and kids, and just that was a big undertaking, short notice, highly appreciated by our community. So hopefully we see an uptick in participation also there now that we got Chromebooks out. And lastly, just thanks to my assistant principal, Ben Wolf, and I have been meeting daily in the morning on Google Hangouts, divide and conquer with staff, just support. He's been awesome through the whole closure and really stepped up in a lot, just to help the middle school and middle school staff out, middle school students, checking in on students. So that's kind of the platform we're at right now with Google Classroom. That's been the last the week and a half, and now we'll continue to move on. And one of our main things we want to do is build capacity and staff for online learning in case we're in this position again and we decide maybe not to choose voluntary. Can we provide high quality instruction, through the use of an online platform? So that's something that we're going to continue to try and build in staff until we get back into school. Any Any questions?
No, but nice lead in back, putting him on the spot. Steph, John's thoughts on communicating with students who he's not seeing use or being involved. Do you kind of have the same plan with the high school students?
Yeah, absolutely. Every team that I met with the last couple of days, and I emailed that out as well. They're keeping track now that we are course by course. They can, they have an actual roster, and so they're keeping track of who's participating and who's not, who they've heard from. And the plan is that this time next week, then those teachers will have reached out to these kids, and if they still don't hear anything back, then they're going to get those names to us, Rob and I, and the academic support team. Then we will start making phone calls to parents and really try and connect with those kids. And, if nothing else, just for kind of that social emotional check-in, just to see how they're doing. And like John said, hopefully some of those kids that haven't participated yet, now that they have a Chromebook, that they will be too. So, the other thing I put in mind was the students that are currently failing, that were failing prior to spring break. We've already reached out to those kids, really made a targeted effort for those kids as well. So.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry to interrupt you there, John.
No, I'm good. That's kind of everything that I have. But the things, staff is doing well. I know on Wednesdays, the middle school staff has kind of a morning coffee where staff can get on and just kind of talk, and it's good social emotional for them. They like seeing everybody. They really enjoy the meetings just because they're like everybody else. They're at home.
Well, thank you. Morgan.
Yeah, I'll echo Seth and John, big time there with the thanks. Teachers have been reporting. I've been invited to lots of read alouds and Zoom meetings, class meetings. I'm really happy that they're happening. I was in a couple yesterday, and I just, the participation maybe wasn't what I was hoping for. It was around 50, 60%. So I'm hopeful that those increase, but again, it's voluntary and schedules are not the same in every household. So I'm just hoping everybody's making the best effort to take advantage of those. I've also had teachers report to me keeping track of attendance, and also, again, huge shout out to Scott for getting us set up with the soft phones, being able to connect through with our cell phones through our office phone, and more people are answering their phone when they see that it's North Polk Schools and it's not the normal time that Jeff's sending out his lunch notices. So I've been happy to connect with families and just check in, see how things are going, if there's anything else that the school can provide. But just huge echo to the teachers working really hard and putting out that consistent message from each grade level. So that's all I got, unless you have questions for me.
Thanks, Morgan. Thank you, Morgan. Corey.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute. Struggling with the 70th Zoom meeting of the day. No, so 4 for 4. I can't say enough about our teachers. They're you shouldn't, but I compare it to my own kids in Urbandale, and our teachers are way ahead when it comes to reaching out, keeping in touch, making things easy, having Zoom class meetings, just wanting kids to stay connected to the class, to each other, to school. So I know they're just working incredibly hard, and in an environment that we didn't prepare them for, just like John and Seth said, they're learning all sorts of things from each other and just making do with what they can do right now. And the really hard part about elementary is they're just not independent enough to do a lot. So you can't expect kindergartners to kind of do the same thing as 11th graders. So it's just trying to keep them involved and communicating with families to try to get kids seeing each other, because they're as bored as anybody. So and also I just want to shout out to Miranda, because as we rolled over our TLC process and put all these templates together for the community and for our parents and kids, like, she has been doing all of that stuff behind the scenes, making sure that it all lines up, and answering calls and texts constantly. So without her, all of this stuff probably wouldn't have gone out, on top of trying to move through hiring and TLC and all of these pieces that we're also continuing to try to run a school while being away from school. So, you know, oops, sorry. And then we have, oh, okay. Then we have new furniture. We won't probably get to see it. I'm hopeful that we do, but for that front part, that was supposed to be in today. So hopefully that came in today. Maybe we'll see it in August, who knows? But it's just, you know, it's amazing. I just can't thank everybody enough for their hard work in a time that no one was prepared for. On top of like hiring, our new technology position got posted, so we're getting applicants for that. We have our screener interviews for our assistant principal, for the new assistant principal tomorrow. We had 85 applicants, so we have it down to 8. So we're just continuing to move through all of these different things that we got going on.
That was a question I have for you. Are you planning to interview all 8?
So we have screener interviews tomorrow. So 15 to 20 minute conversations, basically answering 4 to 5 questions. Seth and I did it last year for his assistant principal. And so Morgan, Miranda, and I are going to do that tomorrow with those 8, and then pare it down to 3 or 4 for final interviews next week.
85, that was nice. Okay. Thanks, Corey.
You bet.
Miranda.
Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing great. Yeah, other than the bullets that I dropped in, I actually have had fun on some of the Zoom calls because today my whole day was spent really hearing from some of our teachers within our system that are desiring an additional leadership role within our TLC. And it was really awesome to just get to know them more from that standpoint. You know, I was brought into the district, and many of these individuals were already in positions within our system, so I wasn't on that front side of it. And so I've actually kind of geeked out over some of the conversations that I've had with people even today in relation to some of the hiring pieces. So that's been really, really great. Those conversations are way better than the state Zoom meetings that we have to be in, but those are essential as well. And so we get a lot of information disseminated down from the state to decipher through. And so, but I've really enjoyed hearing from our teachers. I've been really impressed with all of the interviews from today. And so a lot of teachers have put a lot of thought into their responses and some of the resources that they shared. And so I was really impressed with that. Yeah, I just want to give props to everybody involved. I mean, we've really tried to lean into each other and each other's strengths through this. And I feel that a lot of the time and energy spent has been tremendous. And, you know, I just want to thank everybody that's been involved in some of the random texts to, hey, let's jump on a Zoom for a quick 10 minutes. You know, I think collaboration, when it's the heartbeat of PK-12, you know, that is so true. But then when you add that virtual layer onto it, there's definitely some pieces that kind of put a wedge into some of that true collaboration. But I think our educators have been really resilient in every position that we've had. And so it's been great to kind of embrace that and accept that as our new normal and try to move forward together in that area. So that's kind of my update.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Reese, or no, MJ, let's go MJ.
Well, while Miranda was having fun geeking out on the interviews today, I did not geek out on the DE update, but they have been interesting. No, I just think it's been really good to get back here this last week. Even last week, we started to meet with our school teams, and it's nice to start collaborating again with the special ed program, and the ELP team met last week along with AEA. So, and we started collaboration, professional learning collaboration with the special education teachers, because there's so much out there right now with how to teach special ed students online, and just how they're just like sponges. They just want to know more. They want more information. They want to learn more. So that has been really fun to kind of work with them on that and get the resources in their hands. So IEP meetings are still going. I set another one today, and I think we're good to go. We'll just keep meeting on a weekly basis with our school teams, meeting with the principals, and got guidance out for the special ed teachers, communication to the parents through the website. So I think we're just kind of trucking along, but it has been nice to start to kind of get that schedule back in place where we have our regular meetings and get to see each other during the day. So any questions for me?
No.
Oh, you have a question for Miranda?
Miranda.
I'm sorry. Back to Miranda.
Oh, okay.
Before all this whole COVID stuff started, sorry, Mary Jane, we were talking about the Alex program. Have we made any more progress on this? Or is that kind of on the back burner now, trying to get us up to speed with everything that's going on?
Yeah, great question, Joe. Actually, Rob and I and Seth had some conversations about that today. Elementary is definitely further into their pilot and what for math that we are ready to move forward with. Middle school and high school, we're still kind of in the meat of putting those tools into action. Specifically the Alex, we were piloting in a couple different areas. So after this, and after talking to Seth and John, and John has talked about it as well, but specifically today, Rob and Seth and we were talking about where our progress is with that tool. I think it does provide us an online capability, which I think obviously in what we're in right now could potentially lend itself to some great pieces, but maybe starting with a smaller pilot, we definitely see, or a smaller, instead of going district-wide with it, maybe in some of those contexts in which we've already started to dab at it, to start small and incorporate that into like our ELP, some credit recovery in the area of math, and doing some of those pieces in hopes of expanding when we are all back together. So probably starting small right now is probably going to be the recommendation. Seth and John, you guys can jump in on that, but I know it's been a tool, especially when we are starting to think about MTSS, an opportunity for us to provide additional resource for our students in that area, specifically in math. So
Yeah, one of the ways we're looking at using it next year, we did some intervention with Jan Harmeyer, our academic interventionist, for reading this year. Had really good success, saw great growth, and now we are really looking at using the Alex program to do more of the higher level interventions, out of the classroom interventions with math students in 7 to 8. So that's a avenue that we're looking at using the Alex right now.
And really the same for the high school. Had a lot of good feedback from our math team about the intervention side of the Alex program. To Joe's point, before this all happened, the team was still meeting and working on sort of the whole curriculum adoption. So I think we might put that on the back burner a little bit. They just haven't had the chance to get back to that right now. But the Alex intervention piece, the enrichment piece has been really good. So I'm going to move forward with that. It sounds like, in talking with Miranda today too.
I know that also came up with our ELP meeting last week. They talked a lot about, we dug into the Alex and how that could help extend some learning for students in the area of math. And then also reaching out to some districts because of the EL program. What can we do with some kiddos that do need that extra support in the area of math, and what are those standards and so forth? So there's been some good connections there with using that tool in those smaller groups.
Great, because I just didn't want to make sure that we weren't dropping it. To me, it's a great tool. So
yep.
I know we can't go full steam ahead in full implementation with it because of what's going on right now. So I appreciate you guys still pursuing that.
Hey, and I also just wanted to kind of let you guys know that, I'll let the school board know that last week I did accept a position at Dallas Center Grimes. I will be the new director of student services there at Dallas Center. So I accepted that last week. They announced it to their staff last week, and then I talked to our admin on, I think it was Friday, guys, when I told you guys. So so that'll be my next step. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that I verbally committed to Dallas Center Grimes.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Andrew.
Congrats.
All right. Reese.
All right. I tried to present kind of basically an overview of what the current state of information that came out from the respective girls union and the boys association in the first part of that director's report. They did finally get us summer information as well. So the general gist right now, and these are all assuming May 1 returns, are that they are condensing spring seasons and summer seasons into shorter time periods in an effort to get at all of these activities still in for the school year, assuming a May 1 return. We will still have, if you're looking at that document, there'll still be the 2-week crossover period that becomes kind of awkward sometimes for kids that, you qualified for the state track meet. You've got soccer crossovers of, softball and baseball athletes potentially in there. So they're still hopeful at the state level of potentially getting in all of these spring sports. It'll be a little bit more condensed. You'll note kind of a little bit farther down below the dates that the state, they've removed kind of how many or how little number of competitions that you can play. So it's kind of going to be on that local control level of how comfortable do you feel. So once we got that guidance at the high school level, I met with each one of our respective spring and summer sports, and we just kind of mapped out, all right, here's the date that we know potentially we would have a state qualifying type game or competition. How comfortable do you guys feel? How much time do you need to get ready for a season? That's definitely been one of the concerns that's come out of coaches is the lack of maybe a preseason from a conditioning and the potential for injury standpoint. So needing to be a little bit cognizant of that with our student athletes if we do come back on May 1. And how many competitions could we possibly get in? We've kind of joked a little bit about the fact that the condensed calendar does not take into account all those fun weather days that seem to pop up from time to time. Kind of the point of, I'm sure glad that like this week we're not hosting a track meet or a soccer game because it would be really, really cold out there at this point in time. So it's just basically everything has been condensed down at this point in time. And we've kind of, as both the Raccoon River Conference and the Heart of Iowa Conference, as we've met following the state announcement under the guidance kind of our superintendents at each school, decided to hold off on actually making any of those changes to calendars public. We're all kind of in that holding pattern, I think, right now of waiting potentially for that Thursday is kind of the anticipatory date of maybe some further guidance as far as what her decision may be at the state level, and then being able to react. It's kind of an awkward position, obviously, of having to react without really knowing what's going to happen. It's like having a snow day every day for athletics, it seems like right now, of I'm canceling stuff and I don't know the makeup date or if it will even be made up. So we've just kind of been receiving information, trying to plan as best accordingly, knowing that there could be multiple plans potentially that exist out there, and reacting as far as trying to balance getting maybe in competitions, but also realizing our kids will not necessarily maybe be in the same physical conditioning that we would be accustomed to them being to at that point in time. So those are kind of the real surface level things. And then obviously at the conference levels, we're having conversations about, what hosting a track meet maybe looks like, or just the general concerns that are brought up amongst our coaches to us as ADs about how to implement things in maybe a potentially new world of holding public events at a school. So that's kind of the real basics of it. We're continuing to have 3D coaching which has been nice, to still be able to see coaches and get to work with them on a daily, or not a daily basis, it's been kind of a weekly basis with that group. So still trying to get as many things done as possible that can be done virtually, and just kind of reacting from there to the stuff that we can't really control right now. So any questions for me?
No.
Thank you, Reese.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks.
Reese. All right. Go to supervisors. June.
Hey, the middle school drainage issue, HPC has got that all done except for resodding and kind of smoothing it out a little bit, but that issue should be fixed. So that they got that done this week or today actually. And then I'm starting to rotate custodians to come in and help mow during this time. Brandon came in last week and he at least did the softball, baseball fields, but toward probably Friday and the middle of next week, more will come in and help pick up trash and weed eat and just keeping the grounds looking nice until we know what's going on. And then I've also been searching and in contact with Martin Brothers, who we sell, get our chemicals and cleaning supplies from. And him and I have been talking kind of about what we're going to have to do a little bit different, and maybe some different chemicals to use that are going to be better to disinfect the classrooms, and especially the elementaries with all the extra furniture and toys and stuff they have in their rooms, and how often we need to do that, and just kind of getting a feel for what's going to need to change when we come back and the kids come back. So that's kind of what I've been working on, and gathering stuff for teachers as they need it out of their classrooms. So kind of been busy with that. Any questions?
No, thank you, June. Callie's gone. Jess. Is Jeff on?
Yep.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I just have a couple of things. So thankful for the volunteers that have shown up every day to help distribute our food to the kids. Also, as of today, we are over $8,200 in donations. I just makes you proud to be part of our school district with all the extra stuff going on like that. And also just been waiting for a school board member to step up and wear the school mascot. And nobody has volunteered yet. I don't understand why. That's all I have.
Thanks, Jeff.
Looking at you, Potter.
Well, I actually I had an individual who I think might be interested, and I forgot to check. All right. Regarding Officer Blaylock, he's not on. We had any communication with him, and if he what
I
he
haven't.
doing is there?
They put him on patrol. When we don't have school, then he has to go to patrol.
Okay. Yeah. All right. There's no wellness. I mean, I guess I'm wondering, is there a potential use or no?
Not at this point, yeah. I mean, all we have to do is let him know if we need him, and he said he'd change the, otherwise they make him go to patrol.
Sure. Okay. I understand that. All righty. Scott.
So, hi. So we've been really busy. Just want to give pretty much a big shout out also to Jacob. Jacob's worked really hard this last week getting everything ready, helping me get the Chromebooks out. I think the hardest part of getting the Chromebooks ready to get out to students was cutting the cords free from some of those Chromebook carts. We tore up our hands kind of getting all the zip ties free. So we made a note that we will not be using zip ties again to get them into Chrome carts. Couple things that I know I tried to get that report for you guys, but a couple things I know I missed in there. Besides getting Chromebooks ready, I think we had a total of 209 families that wanted Chromebooks. But besides that, we also were able to get, as we alluded to earlier, the phone system right now, our staff and administrators are able to call like they're calling from the school. So that was able to, we were able to get that ready from the outside. So that server's all out there also. And doing that, we also have a couple other servers that are now available from the outside of the school. And so that configuration's going. And then the last part of what I've been working on specifically this last week is configuring, since we have devices outside of our network. Where I'm configuring GoGuardian. GoGuardian has actually made their admin and GoGuardian teacher available free through the end of June. So I'm configuring that right now. We'll see how it goes. If we like it, we can continue to have some of it. Some of its features are not exactly what we use just because we usually are inside of a firewall, but we can have that discussion later. We'll see how some of this gets used right now, but I'm in the last part of setting that all configured up, and once that's done, be able to have some trainings for the teachers if they want to use GoGuardian Teacher as along with some of the other voluntary things that they're doing. Put together a lot of training videos for staff to learn different things, how to record themselves, how to post it onto YouTube, and how to get their phone set up, and all those types of videos. And how also, big thank you to her. She did about 4 different training videos on Google Classroom and some different Seesaw and how to maybe utilize those inside your teaching. So we have a nice whole staff learning page right now that's available for. And I got a couple teachers that emailed me that were really excited. They had already posted YouTube videos. They were pretty happy about being able to share those links. So if you have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer, not ask.
When is the Chromebook pickup?
It was today.
Oh, it was today.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did today for an hour and a half, 11:30 to 1.
And you thought the 200 figure was low?
So, yeah, really? I thought we did a lot more. Knowing that we had 700 families who were eligible, I thought we did 200.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. You allowing for stragglers, or I mean?
Yeah, so we got a few people who didn't show up, so they'll just come pick them up at the district office.
Okay.
Or one all arranged and pick up later and then.
We also had some people that showed up that had not signed up, so we allowed for that also, where we had some Chromebooks available that were ready just in case they'd forgotten to sign up.
And Scott just say yes to scissors, apparently.
Well, it's kind of hard. You got to
All
make sure you not cut the cord.
All right. Mic on?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Not much to add other than what's in the monthly report. I did contact each one of my drivers to see how they're doing. They're pretty grateful for the contact. They are anxious to get back to work as soon as we get the go word. Any questions?
Nope. All right. Thank you all. What's our back to school contingency plan? I'm assuming you guys are working on that too. If we get I'm assuming that's all in place just in case we get the green light. I'm being optimistic, hopeful. Anyone? No one wants to answer that question?
We're all waiting. Do we get to say anything? Do we get to do it? Do we not get to do it? Yeah, everybody's hoping. Everybody's keeping their fingers crossed.
Is the expectation Thursday or Friday for that, for her to give a
Yeah,
lot
she
more?
said 2 weeks prior, so we're hoping Thursday. She was at Thursday last time when she announced, so we're hoping it's.
Is she still going 11 o'clock?
11 o'clock, yes.
Yeah. All right.
So I can maybe
Moving
make
on.
just a
Go ahead, Miranda.
We've had some really good conversations about what that might look like, knowing that she's going to be making a decision this week, but really taking into account some of where we left off when students departed for spring break, and and what essential standards that we had that were left for the remaining of the year. And then taking, right now, based off of her decision that she is making either to come back or not, it would be conversations of what does it look like to get our essential standards that we were going to be navigating currently and till the end of the year. What does that look like to fit that into maybe a 4-week concept, or does it look more like, and Seth has brought this up a little bit, which I appreciate his thinking and sharing in some of his principal groups and some of the other principals as well, of like a quote unquote J term when we first start back. So we would look at some of that lost essential standard work that would have been taken place to then fit it into, if we go back in August, that would be the plan to then fit that into a 1 month time frame to then adjust some of our scope and sequence for that following year. So we've had conversations around it and what that might look like, but that's currently what we're looking at right now, if that helps.
Thank you. All right. Anything else? Anybody have any other questions or anything to add? All right. Other updates. Board members, any updates?
No particular updates from Keith.
Okay.
I don't have anything. Just want to say well done to all you guys. I know it's stressful work, but you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, thanks for the updates. Nothing from my side. Yeah, I know it's new territory. Appreciate all the extra work you guys are doing.
All right. I get a motion to adjourn.
That motion, we adjourn.
Joe?
Second, Keith.
Keith? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you. Keep up the good fight.
Great mustache, James.